Welcome everyone back to the YouTube channel. Brennan Mejia here, the Red Ranger from Power Rangers, Dino Charge, and Dino Supercharge. Today we're gonna recap episode 3 of Dino Force Brave, the Korean version of Kyoryu / Dino Charge. Let's get into it. All right, so Dino Force Brave, like I mentioned, is the Korean adaptation to Kyoryu / the continuation, because they acknowledge Kyoryu's existence. So I'd say it's more accurate to say it's a continuation, despite being in another language, another part of the world, but still cool. The suit designs are similar, but different for the most part. Same with their Megazords. We have returning characters like Poisandra and Lucero, however you say his name, the green guy. I keep saying his name wrong, even though they say it in the show. And they recognize that Debos, the bad guy of the Super Sentai, is still, like, they call it the Neo Debos. So like they're still referencing bad guys that they fought before. They have the same morph music, the do-do-do-do-do-do-do, fire, but the dance sequence to morph is different. Their morphers are red, white, and blue, which I don't know if that's supposed to be like, hey, America, but they are. And then their Megazords, instead of being called Gabutira or Rexy, it's Cannon Tira. And it has like this cannon thing that looks like a Gatling gun on the top of the head of Rexy. Yeah, but the show moves really, really quick because the episodes are half the amount of time of a normal Power Ranger or Kyoryu episode. They're like 12 minutes. So they actually do a pretty good job at keeping the pacing going. I didn't think it would work hearing it was only 12 minutes, and I think even the whole season is half the length of a normal season. So that makes it, what, 1/4 the length if you say half the length of an episode plus half the number of episodes, which is just not very much. And it's kind of sad because I've watched 3 episodes and I'm almost halfway through all of it already. But if you're looking for something quick to watch and you can get access to it, I do recommend it. Dino Force Brave, the characters are fun. They talk about family bonds and all of that and working together better by being families. This episode introduces the Gold Ranger. We saw him briefly at the end of episode 2, but now we find out he's a mercenary from space, which is interesting. But then we also find out the Red Ranger, he has an older brother who's supposed to be really strong, who he doesn't really remember, who went missing or they got separated when he was young. I feel like the Gold Ranger is gonna be his brother. Hasn't been said in the show yet, but I just feel like that's where they're gonna go with it. But the Gold Ranger actually approaches the bad guys in this and offers to defeat the Dino Force Brave Rangers in exchange for money. Again, he's a mercenary from space. So I imagine he's gonna fight them and win, and then they'll demorph, and then he'll be like, oh, my brother, I can't hurt you anymore, and then they become friends. I don't know, we'll see what happens. But it also seems, so far from the part I've seen of his suit, it's relatively the same as Kyoryu Gold and Dino Charge Gold. And I bring that up because, as I said earlier, the Dino Force Brave suits are different colors, schemes, slightly different styles for all the other Rangers so far. But Gold looks to be relatively the same. There might have been something on the chest that I'm not remembering. It's sticking into my brain slightly, that there might be some kind of chest armor, but the helmet design and everything looks the same. Yeah, this episode, we see that the bad guys can teleport to Earth, but they're giant monsters. They don't make them grow with a magna beam or make my monsters grow with Rita Repulsa's staff. They shoot them off of a part of the ship in space where the bad guys' main base is, and then that giant ship brings the giant monster to Earth, and then they fight, which is just interesting as a choice versus once the monster's already here, they grow and then fight. We also saw them deciding to fight with 2 monsters instead of just sending one at a time, which never really made sense to me because the Power Rangers or the Sentai Rangers, they typically fight as a team, yet they're always typically fighting one boss monster and then a bunch of minions. And then this time they sent 2 boss monsters to fight at the same time, and they were actually winning against 2 Rangers, but then when 4 showed up total, they started losing. So it kind of took 2 to beat 1 monster, it seemed. And then they had some weird effects that didn't make sense to me. They kind of seemed like they were saying the Black Ranger is the strong one in this versus the Blue Ranger, which is the case for Kyoryu and Dino Charge, with Yoshi, my Blue Ranger, being a caveman, because the Black Ranger picked up the Green Ranger and threw him towards the monster. And then somehow the Green Ranger was able to like surf on a wave traveling towards him. So he wasn't going with the wave, he was going like against it, which I don't understand the physics of that. Whatever. It was cool though. And then they had a part where the Pink Ranger shot like her Dino Spear out and it bit over her, but it gave her like a power up where then she moved like super quick and was like doing a bunch of crazy combos against the monster, which I just thought looked dynamic and was a nice change versus just her kicking them normally. So yeah, more special effect heavy than like wire works versus a lot of other Ranger episodes I've grown accustomed to seeing. When you see like the Rangers get thrown back or they flip through the air into 5 physics, they're usually on wires and then like attached to a crane, and it lifts them up and it gives them time to do these crazy flips. This was more like CGI looking fighting for some of it, mixed in with practical fighting, which was just an interesting difference. But then they still had use of a mini trampoline. So whenever you see in an episode where the Ranger, like the camera is under and then the Ranger's like flipping over the camera, they're jumping off of this mini trampoline and then doing a flip. And then the camera angle just makes it look like they're way up high in the sky as they flip to enter the fight. So they still use that across all 3 Rangers, Kyoryu, Dino Charge, and Dino Force Brave. But yeah, I thought it was fun. I enjoyed this episode. I am curious now because they set it up with the Gold Ranger in the preview for next episode fighting the team. So I imagine he's gonna join the team relatively soon. They put him in the opening credits as well as part of the cast now. So that means he's gonna be a mainstay, I imagine. I'm curious though, are they gonna try to bring all 10 Rangers in their short episode, short season? Or do we max out at 6? Because we pretty much got 2 Rangers, I believe every episode, at least so far. There's only been 2 episodes. So like we started with Red. No, in the first episode, I think they jumped to 3 Rangers. Yeah, and then episode 2, we got Pink and Green. And then we saw Gold just now, but we don't know if he's on the team yet. So we'll see if we'll get the other 4, or maybe even 11 if you count like the Dark Ranger. And now, some questions from Steven Zurita, our videographer/editor.
So, Brennan, in real life, you know a lot about training. They do some training in this episode. So you can give me some of your thoughts on that. We had a good laugh at some of the target practice.
Right, yeah, I totally blanked on that. Thanks for bringing that up. So they mentioned that the Blue Ranger and the Black Ranger were going to be in charge of training the Green Ranger and the Pink Ranger. I mean, I guess they have seniority by 1 episode. I don't know how much time has passed between episode 2 and 3 to make them feel like they're veterans on the team on some level, but whatever. So Green Ranger was told to do 500 push-ups, and he tried to pay off the judge with money to let him count that he already finished his push-ups, but the judge said no. And then the Pink Ranger was told to shoot her blaster 50 times at a target, but she didn't want to because the blaster was heavy, I guess. But for whatever reason, that Ranger who was teaching her decided to stand right next to the target as he was telling her. If you're near camera and the target is here, I would not stand here as I tell you to shoot said target, because that's stupid, because you could miss and almost hit me. And the thing that happened in the episode, she shoots 50 shots, misses the target every time, and shoots a cutout around the Ranger, which either means she's really accurate or really lucky, because to do that and not hit him is some level of skill. But the fact that he stood next to a target, I'm like, dude, I wouldn't do that even with a paintball gun or an airsoft gun. Telling him to shoot 50 times next to my head, forget it. But yeah, so I think training-wise, that was not the wisest thing to do. 500 push-ups, yeah, sure, go do it. I'll do that next to you. You won't hurt me if you fall down. So, yeah.
Another bit of training. I don't know. Well, I know you don't have experience in this because we've talked about it. Training with Cannon Tira.
Yeah, okay. So for those who are not familiar with Kyoryu, the source material of Dino Charge, it's the Super Sentai origin, basically. They have King, Kyoryu Red Kyoryu Ranger, whatever you want to say. He does a training montage where he has to fight against Gabutira, aka Rexy, but not in this size, but in full Megazord, or I guess Zord form, because Megazord's when they combine. So full Zord size, and he wins. Like he jumps off of like a cliff and punches Rexy or whatever, or Gabutira, and wins the fight somehow. And he was not even morphed when he did this. But then in Dino Force Brave, they had their Red Ranger also sparring against Cannon Tira, not morphed. And it seems like he lost though, because Cannon Tira hit him with his tail. But then the team was like, wow, you're actually okay after being hit with the tail? So his defense is A+ or S tier. I never got to fight Rexy, and I kind of feel like that was a letdown, because I want to prove myself against a Zord that I can win, but never got to. So, sad day. Yeah, so that was that. That's what he was referencing. But pretty good show so far. I enjoy it. If you guys enjoy the videos, make sure to comment below for me to keep watching them. If you want to see more Dino Force recap videos by yours truly, click here. Yeah.